Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has one of the most expansive customization options out of the whole franchise. With the recent addition of Birdo as a playable driver, there are now an astonishing 581,790 combinations. So what are some of the weirdest karts? After some testing, switching and matching, I've come up with 3 combinations that have some of the most odd stat combos or other oddities. Enjoy. This is the Bullymobile, a vehicle that is honestly very cool looking. Now this car drives like a dream. If your dream is to
blow up into everyone as you blast 200 k's up the highway.
So how does it drive? And god, somehow it is worse than I imagined it to be. Every turn presents a terrible opportunity to lose all your progress you just made, as even the slightest mess up of a turn will send the kart ballooning off the side, leaving Lakitu to pick you up. This is made worse due to the kart's speed, as you go insanely quick around the corners. But with your tires having no traction, I lost track of how many times I fell off. So let's do a quick count, shall we? And the recovery is just as awful. You get hit by an item and take a decade to get back to full speed. The only positive about this kart is at the start of the race, you can just ram through everyone with zero consequence. Until you get to lap 2 in 10th position, I begin to question why you ever considered this kart in the first place. But just look at where I finished. I'm so awful, Lakitu just gave me a nice try. This is a truly awful kart, and I'm gonna give it 2.5 coconuts out of 10. This is the awful parents' mobile. Because be for real, who lets their kids drive the Benz? Kitted out with the 300 SL Roadster, the GLA wheels, and the Cloud Glider, all piloted by a 3-year-old. While not being the fastest due to Baby Mario's parents having a shred of empathy when they installed speed limiters, it more than makes up for that, with increased traction just making turns so easy. And if I was to make a real life comparison for this, it might be this Mercedes. Wait, so how does it drive? This kart is such a breath of fresh air compared to the Bullymobile. The turns, the traction, the recovery, everything. It just makes me wonder why there aren't more infants driving in the F1. What did seem to fall off in similar areas as the other kart, the acceleration just helped in recovery so much more. And it just felt like every corner was extremely driftable. And I wasn't thinking about the kart the whole time, so I could actually concentrate on keeping my items and using them properly. I managed to win the Grand Prix first try with it, and so far, this is the only kart I could recommend using. Granted, I've only looked at one other kart, but I give it an 8.5 baby rattles out of 10. This is the most annoying kart you will ever use for real, no cap bike, mobile. On the surface, this looks like any normal bike, with even the normal stats that could support the claim. But if you look deep down into this kart and reveal what's truly awful about it, you find that this bike turns
inwards.
This may actually be a good thing for many people, but for those who like to jump around from car to car, this is a living nightmare. So how does it drive? Well, the first impressions are that, yes, it is hard to switch to this kind of drift. The main difference being that you press the drift button and you'll be a lot straighter than a usual drifting kart. This creates a difficulty curve that's hard to focus on, whilst also trying to get through a 200cc course. When you do eventually get used to it though, it's still pretty awful. Getting around corners becomes increasingly more difficult, especially when there's no barriers. But the boosting's fine. It's just very hard to get your head around what your bike wants to do. It's almost like it's doing the opposite of what your hands are trying to get it to do. Also, this isn't related to the kart's capabilities, but I just wanted to show off this clip. This bike definitely isn't something you should just throw together willy-nilly. You really have to commit to inward drifting if you want to use it. So for that, I give it 4 Wario Wings out of 10. So after trying all these karts out for myself, there are certainly some strange karts in Mario Kart 8. And my recommendation is that you should stick to 1 or 2. If I was going to give further advice, it would be please, stay away from this specific shortcut.